Let's go. Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Victoria Baylor. She is a mindset and brand brilliance coach, TEDx speaker, teacher, and #1 Amazon bestselling author. I'm so excited to have this conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Victoria.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
You're welcome. And for those watching, before we go any further, if you're watching this from any location that is outside of our free community, I just want to personally invite you inside. It's taken a tremendous amount of time and energy to cultivate such a positive group of people who want to see each other succeed. So if that's what you've been missing out on or lacking in these time periods, come and join us by clicking the link either above or below the video. Join us inside right now. Now, Victoria, what was life like before you got into coaching, and really what was the catalyst that brought you into the space?
Whoa, that's a loaded question. Well, I have to admit, life was formulaic before that, but in a good way. I had the distinct pleasure and honor at the age of 8 to be struck by lightning in a sense. At that time, I knew exactly what I wanted to be when I grew up. Once I made it through the ice skater, I like to joke my ice skater and kind of nurse phase, kind of the things when you're really, really young, you think you're going to be, and you're like, well, that's probably not it. But when I hit 8, I actually remember seeing a documentary with Jacques Cousteau, and it was just riveting. And I decided from there on out, I was like, I'm obsessed with this thing, the ocean, and I want to kind of follow that. And I did. So before I became what I am now, it actually ties together in an amazing way. It's kind of an interesting story, but before I became a brand brilliance and mindset coach, again, I set out in that direction. But there's an interesting thread, I think, between the two elements. What I didn't realize then, which is what I realize now, is that I've always been intrigued by what happens beneath the surface of anything. So when you look at the ocean and you look up at it from the beach perspective, you're only seeing the top. But what always intrigued me, what was happening underneath. That was, teeming with life, processes, cycles, all these other cool things. And people are a lot the same way. So I've actually always been interested in people, which is kind of how I got on that track. But went to school, got a degree in marine biology, loved it. I ended up working in the field of microbial ecology for 15 years. So I worked at a very renowned research institute. It was Skidaway Institute of Oceanography, tons of various oceanographers in different disciplines. And I loved the work. But at some point, I realized that, okay, you get to the end of the chapter in the book. Sometimes it's a good chapter and we don't know how to cross over and flip the page. And at that time, I had committed a very cardinal sin in a sense. That as a woman, I built just in general, because I've worked with both men and women. This is how I get to where I am now. And my purpose and calling is that I had built a lot of my identity off of what I thought I was to be at 8. And that stuck. So I define myself by identity versus by defining myself by the elements of who I was as a person, who I am. And so that kind of took me through a crash and burn because I was always an accomplished person. I graduated top of my class in college, got honor graduate in high school, took on 20 hours a week interning. I could do life well, but I still had no context for me. That's a little scary. And what's interesting though, is I work with very high functioning women, some men as well, high paid, but if you had to ask them how they got to where they are, they cannot tell you, nor can they tell you why they were picked. But all they know is that there's this formula. I can do this very well. Let me make this me. Mm-hmm. My job as a branding coach, after I crashed and burned, lost my confidence and identity, I realized that, we have to go back to the fundamentals, because the same girl that actually ran toward that career and had this vigor and this zest for life, she's still in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. She got a little lost. She lost her way. So I, being systematic, very analytical, just by nature, I went digging to find answers. And thankfully, by the grace of God, not only did I find myself, I also found my life purpose. And I definitely deemed it that I would never let another woman go through the same problem. So now my job is doing that, helping her find what her true identity is, so she can realize the strengths, the talents, the abilities, the values, like all these components we don't tend to think about that define us as people, are actually the elements that we use that make us successful in our roles, careers, jobs. But we tend to not explore that and forget about that. Mm. And then we attach ourselves to the role and identity. Once that's removed, well, you just lost the carpet underneath your feet. Mm-hmm. What's that? So that's kind of my longest story short of it. So I developed a specialized coaching program, several different programs within that strategically takes people through the step-by-step process of basically redefining themselves, understanding their purpose, getting clear to the core. Because if you have a business, it's all about authenticity. It's all about connecting with people. And I always say this, it's very impossible to connect with people if you are not connected with yourself. Hmm. And once you get to that place, I find that business owners have the same issues. Entrepreneurs is, I don't know what to say to my ideal client. I don't even know who they are. I mean, how do I relate to them? How do I make, why me? Why should they choose me? And all of those are the signs of an identity crisis. So for me, when I hear that, that's like music to my ears. So I'm like, we can fix that. That's easy. And I'm a laser coach. So what's very unique and significant about me is that I get people to their breakthroughs faster. Because I've always had the tendency to see what most people miss. Mm-hmm. And I can relate it in a way that connects with them. So that's the story of where I started. As you can tell, it definitely was a winding road. Oh, and to put a little bit of a cherry on that, what I didn't mention was while I was doing research, my biggest conflict came because I felt like I was two people. So I was doing research of my full-time job. I picked up sewing and I started a custom dressmaking business, and I made these elaborate gowns, wedding, prom. And at some point, it became a point of contention for me because I said to myself, how can I be both creative and analytical? One is better. One can't be it. So there became this internal fight that also helped aid in that meltdown. So what I do is I help people see that you can be multi-passionate and we are combined in very unique ways. How do you leverage that in your business so that you can really make yourself that unicorn, as I like to say, in the barn full of horses? Because the job in business is to stand out. Markets are crowded. You know that. I know that as a coach. So how do you stand out? How do you make claim? How do you get people to see you? But that's by really being yourself and really embracing and developing a strong personal brand identity, which I call your brand brilliance.
Nice. Where do people go to learn more about, your brand brilliance programs and all the different things you have going on?
Well, they just come straight to me. I am self-branded, so it's victoriabaylor.com, www.victoriabaylor.com. I always love to start with, we do a consultation. I offer those from a complimentary standpoint. Many people will jump on. I give various teachings, trainings. I do little videos. Just reach out. I always tell people it's, as also as a coach, one of the difficult things, and I can say sometimes for women, is that we kind of want to feel like we've got it, we can figure it out. You hear those people say, well, I'm just going to go on YouTube. And I tell them, like, God bless you, because it's what would take you months to years if you're with the right coach, like someone like myself that can see what you can't see. I mean, it's a matter of seconds, minutes. So those kind of breakthroughs are just so important to have. And as business owners, it's tough enough in the environment you're dealing with so many emotions, so many struggles. It's just so important to have that stable voice that can keep you guided and moving forward.
Yeah. Let me, because I was just about to say, they might never even get it, actually. Like when
never get what?
So you were saying, it might take you months and years. Some people never get it.
Oh, no, so you're absolutely right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I think the thing is this, every unique ability is attached. Everyone has a unique ability. Uh-huh. So someone may be good at what they do in their arena, but it doesn't mean they're good at understanding themselves or unpacking themselves. Yeah. If you're having a heart problem, you don't go to a podiatrist. That doesn't make any sense. Well, go to someone that specializes.
you say that, but people online will do that. Like how you said, go look at a YouTube video. That's also a big issue too, when they don't know how to go. That's a skill in itself, finding information.
Yes, and I think, and again, it comes back down to personality types. It totally makes sense for me. I'm an inborn researcher. It makes sense. I even went in that field. Research, all I did, especially with 15 years of it, is sharpen my natural tendencies and abilities. I had a conversation with my husband the other day. It was pretty interesting. I said, we were talking about what people aren't good at, like what we aren't good at. And I find that this is where it comes down. It's not so much ego, but people really struggle with the notion of not being good at things. So they want to be the jack of all trades and then they master nothing. What's interesting that happens with that is when you don't define a line, that means you can't find that place where you're exceptional. I love the fact that I'm not good at certain things. I'll like call it out. I can name a list. But as I tell my clients, I was like, I might not be able to plant your garden, and I am horrible at painting walls, that is. But I can unpack you with no
Uh,
struggle, because it's what I'm superbly good at: speaking, teaching, and coaching. And I think that's the biggest thing. If you can get people just to kind of calm down and be okay with being who they are, and like kind of shifting their focus to where they are exceptional, they'll be quicker to let all that other stuff go. Because energy is what we use every day. But the question I always ask my clients, and I help them answer, is, are you using it in the greatest capacity? It's going to bring in the greatest return on investment.
yeah.
I could do a lot of stuff. It's not bringing me my greatest return on investment. I don't want to do it. I want to focus on where can I do the greatest good and be the most impactful in my business. And that's where success starts. And it really, again, as a mindset coach and a branding coach, it starts right up here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, because we can talk days and days for why people maybe don't go and look for help or don't outsource soon enough. So
Yeah,
yeah, but that's a different conversation.
it,
Let me ask you
it
this
is. It's a little bit of a block, but it's okay. Look, I went years and years thinking, I think, again, success sometimes it can be tricky.
question.
Just because you can come off in a great way, or you might seem successful, it doesn't mean ideally that you're getting to the fundamentals of yourself. So I spent many years being successful. I mean, I could work that formula inside and out, but I didn't have context for me. And it's a whole different level of success when identity meets like those strengths, gifts, all that, and it comes together. It's like, oh my God, it's like nitros. What is it? And I watched way too many of those racing car movies, but it's like turn the nitrous tank in the car, you're just gonna propel out. So
Excellent. Just kind of plus for those watching, that's kind of why you go and join a community just like ours, because it's full of people just like Victoria who are improving themselves and helping others do the same. The fastest way to kind of shorten that process towards either understanding yourself or kind of reaching your goals in business or in life is to get around people that specialize in helping people get to where they want to go. You basically
that's
get it
true.
for free by joining our mastermind. So if you want to do that, go ahead and click on the link either above or below. Check us out. Join us now. Now, let me ask you this question. So with all of the research and understanding how to get people to see their vision and laser focus, maybe what's the vision look like for you for as far down the road as you like to think or talk about for your life?
Oh wow. Well, I love that. I love what I get to do. I mean, I constantly graduating people through my program. So I will always be a coach, because I think I've always been that. So definitely I want to expand my coaching practice. I'm adding some groups to that so I can definitely leverage more impact. Definitely doing more speaking. TEDx was really, really fun. Sometimes what's interesting, you have gifts you don't even know you have. And then that's why feedback is so important. So, I never thought really I was a speaker. I just know when I spoke, a lot of people stopped and listened, and I never thought twice about that. But TEDx was just awesome. I love ideas. So I've always been, kind of obsessed with TEDx, and I'm obsessed with reading and learning. So definitely expanding the practice, getting out on more stages, talking to people, and just being that champion and cheerleader. Because again, I know what it's like to be on the opposite side of that. And I know that people are oftentimes I made it interesting. Isn't that a little bit of an analogy? I think of the wind-up toys. There's nothing sadder than a wind-up toy that's in the corner by itself. You know, like the little monkey with the cymbals. It's just kind of like bent over, and it's like you need someone to just wind it up. And when they do, you just take off, just cymbals clapping and take off. That's people. And there's so much in this world that tears people down. And there's nothing to tear you down faster than entrepreneurship. I joke with people, I said, I've given birth to a child, I've had a toothache. Those are one of the worst pains on the planet. But entrepreneurship will trumps that in my case, and most people, because it's challenging from a mindset standpoint. It'll make you second guess yourself. You're literally creating this thing, this element, and you're having to find your worth and find your place. It challenges you. So to have that weight and then come into that arena without self-knowledge, without an understanding of your purpose and identity, it's crazy. I work with so many different people. One woman in particular was a politician. I remember when she first came to me, she struggled. She said, I'm just a mom, I'm just a wife. Everybody on the panel or everybody running against me are Ivy Leaguers. What do I have? And I looked at her because I already know, people are people. The gifts are there. They just have to figure out how to connect the dots. And my job is to connect them. By the time we got done with her, she took off. Needless to say that, she was doing forums, she was in front of cameras, all the stuff that she was nervous about. And I always say this, nothing changed, not externally. Same woman. She just saw herself differently. And I think the interesting thing about coaching is what's most beautiful is that we get to hold the mirrors. We get to let people see what they don't oftentimes see, or they miss, or they think it's ordinary. And it's like, no, you think everybody's doing that? No, they're not. And when you put it in context to them, that's how you wind people up. So if I get to do that now for the rest of my life, I think I will die a very happy woman.
And, once again, where can people go? I know yourself, Brandon. What is the name again?
You can go to www.victoriabaylor.com. It's Victoria like Queen Victoria, and then Baylor like Baylor University, Baylor.com. I'm on Instagram at Victoria Baylor, on Twitter, Victoria D. Baylor. Every place, LinkedIn, you can look me up there as well. So I'm out and about, definitely sharing information, trying to provide valuable content, connecting with people, because there's something beautiful that happens when we all walk in the fullness of ourselves and what I feel like God's created us to walk into, that is impactful. When I switch the light on for a woman, or I help her connect to herself, what I do is I give her permission to go out and do the same. And then she's able to be fully herself and do it. It's a pay it forward gift that keeps on giving. That's phenomenal. So I just love being in that whole circuit.
Excellent. Thanks so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate your time and learning from you.
Oh, absolutely. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. I enjoyed our chit chat and our talking, and I wish you well in all your endeavors.
Excellent. Thank you. And, for those watching, hopefully you found this valuable as well. And, if you're watching this, please feel free to hit the share button so other people can get some great value as well. Join the community by clicking the link either above or below. We will see you in the next episode. We're done recording in 3, 2, 1, and